every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.
Hello and welcome in once again to the Rookie Prospect Profile Series, a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. Today we're going to be looking at running back Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears was drafted number 81 overall by the Tennessee Titans. He's coming into the league out of Tulane University as one of those green wave players. Similar physical traits, we can see that Tyjae Spears comes in at 5'10", 201 pounds with a BMI of 28.8. Tyjae Spears ran that 4.59 in the 40, not particularly great, giving him a speed score of 90.6. Putting in these physical traits along with some of their other college numbers into the RStudio model, we get a prospect score of 13.664, which is 129th overall out of the 310 running backs in the RStudio model's database, which is the 58.4 percentile. Shifting over to see who the closest comparables are to Tyjae Spears' R prospect score, we can see that the next closest better than him is Damian Williams, then Rashad Jennings, Bilal Powell, Chuba Hubbard, and Marlon Mack. Not some bad comps there. And then the next five closest below him, Christine Michael, Kenyon Drake, James Cook, Jalen Samuels, and Alexander Madison. He's kind of crunched in between a lot of these people who had some sort of potential upside. Some of them maybe reach it, some of them maybe don't. Looking at Alexander Madison, Chuba Hubbard type people there. Marlon Mack had a few 1,000-yard seasons before Jonathan Taylor came in. So just an idea of the closest comparables there on the RStudio model. Switching to the machine learning model for Tyjae Spears, we can see that he comes in with a mean of 12.83, a median of 12.7. They have the minimum prediction there at 8.36 and a maximum prediction all the way up at 17.46, which is pretty good. Their 10th percentile outcome is 10.28. Their 25th percentile outcome, 11.36. 75th percentile outcome, 14.1. And 90th percentile outcome, 15.83. And that mid-50 gap there of 2.74. So getting into some of the numbers there and what they mean, that 12.83 mean prediction, 12.7 median. The 12.83 is actually Stephen Ridley. If you remember his one good season with the Patriots where he's scoring a bunch of touchdowns, that was exactly 12.83. A bunch of people at 12.8, including Ronnie Hillman, Isaiah Crowell, Damian Williams, Damian Pierce last year in his rookie season. 12.7 exactly, similar to that median. Matt Asiata, the one year that Adrian Peterson went down and he was with the Vikings. That's the particular range that we're looking at for mean and median. Cranking back up to the maximum, that 17.46 isn't too bad, but who is that comparable to? Well, Mark Ingram's best season is 17.4 points. Pretty solid there. Nick Chubb's best season, 17.31. James White region, 17.3. Deion Lewis, 17.2. We've discussed some of these ranges in some of our other prospects who are near there, similar to Charbonnet in the 18 range. But yeah, a little bit above that, we're looking at David Montgomery, 17.65. Najee Harris was 17.69. James Robinson, 17.89. Mixon, 17.99. So that's kind of the maximum outcome you can expect from Tyjae Spears should he get 80 opportunities in a season. And just in terms of how all of his mean and medians rank, we can take a peek at that here. We see the mean rank is number 7, median rank number 7. Minimum rank is actually the 5th best in this class, with a max rank of 9th best in this class. And then kind of looking at the 10th percentile, through the 75th percentile rank, there are 7s across the board, and then the 90th percentile rank is actually the 6th best in the class, with that M50 gap ranked number 22, which isn't super stellar. So basically that's saying Tyjae Spears all over the map in terms of, or a little bit more spread out in terms of their potential outcomes. Could be kind of lower, could be a little bit higher. Neural network wasn't super confident in terms of him being right in a particular range. So those values are spread out across the 100 predictions. And that's why the M50 gap rank is 22 out of 36 players in this particular model. So hopefully the RStudio model and the machine learning model can give you a little bit of that additional confidence in all the analysis you're doing for each of these incoming rookies. That's going to do it for today's rookie prospect profile on Tyjae Spears, presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you are not subscribed and you very much enjoy these neural network models and RStudio models being put out for you. Those subscribes go a long way. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you. Bye. As a reminder to how the machine learning model functions for those who have not caught it yet, a very broad overview. The model is training and validating and then going backwards to adjust the weights of each connection of each node in the network. It will do this 30 different times to get the closest predictions from the validation portion of the data. So to explain a little bit further or more in depth, the model will go through on the first epoch, again of 30, training on 80% of the data. It will then predict outcomes of the remaining 20% of the data called the validation set. It sees how close it was to each prediction, and then will go backwards through each connection to determine how much each connection provided to the error. It will then adjust the bad connections down in weight and boost the good connections up in weight. It will then start that second epoch, again of 30 total, with the brand new weights for each connection and train on the same 80% and make more predictions on the same 20%, that validation set. It then again goes backwards through each connection to adjust the weights. It does this 30 different times. Any more than that, and this particular network will start overfitting the data and becomes worse actually at predicting the outcomes. For reference, there are a total of 14,040 neural connections within this neural network model. At the very end of these 30 epochs, with the best weights at each neural connection, it will then make a prediction on the incoming prospect given that prospect's own individual inputs. I have the model go through that entire process 100 different times, reshuffling the 80% training set and the 20% validation set for each of the 100 iterations. It makes 100 predictions in totality, and this is what is used for the mean, median, min, max, standard deviation, 10th, 25th, 75th, and 90th percentile outcomes, as well as that mid-50 gap or M50 gap, which is the gap between the 25th and 75th percentile outcomes. The larger the M50 gap, the more spread out the predictions were, and the more volatile the player outcomes can be considered should that prospect ever reach 80 opportunities in a season. The data the model is training on is any running back in the last 10 NFL seasons, so that's 2013 through 2022, that had at least 80 opportunities in one of those seasons. There are 20 different inputs into the model currently, and the output is that NFL player's career best season in fantasy points per game in a PPR setting. There are 243 total running backs with at least 80 combined targets and carries within the model.
Yeah, whole crew on top, really we on top. Wake up every morning with drive. Been on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.